Hello everyone, welcome to Diversity Impact Webinar. Our guest today is Mr. Andrew Lee, a leadership and talent strategy management acquisition expert at Collins Aerospace. Andrew Lee is an expert in the field of leadership strategies and talent acquisition management. With more than 15 years of management experience in both corporate functions and agency recruiting, Andrew has a unique perspective on what it takes to win in the workplace. Andrew is an accomplished thought leader and speaker who has delivered a successful TED Talk, How to Interview and Find a Rock Star. Andrew is a veteran and native of Charlotte, North Carolina, where he currently resides with his wife Tiffany and twin girls Elizabeth and Isabel. Thank you, Andrew, for your service to the nation, and welcome to Diversity Impact Webinar. To begin, please tell us a little about yourself and your company.
I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. I joined the military shortly after 9/11, and I kind of fell into recruiting in the HR field. I feel that it really is what I was kind of called to do, be in HR. And I work for Collins Aerospace. I'm in charge of a large recruiting group that recruits for various parts of the organization, engineering, supply chain operations, various skill sets like that. You know, I really believe COVID is the seminal event of talent acquisition, really since the inception of TA. It literally changed everything. It changed the view of security, of job security of those in talent acquisition. You know, normally we're the ones who do the hiring. But for the first time, those in the TA function were worried about their longevity as the nation and the world began to close. That addresses the internal, but to the external, for those that were able to keep their roles, there was freedom. You know, prior to COVID, managers were concerned about physical proximity to their employees. COVID forced those managers to pivot to their work completion. In other words, you know, it didn't matter if the employee was close, it mattered if the work got done. And as we know, the market changed. The market transformed from being an employee market to an employer market. You know, that's starting to recover now, but it's still on the other side of that. That's a difficult question. You know, if we look at the definition of culture is really defined as accepted norms, values, and traditional behaviors. You know, culture is created, formed, and nurtured whether we work or not. Now, if the question is to how to build an inclusive and diverse culture, like most things, it starts at the top. If there's not a concerted effort at the senior executive level to build a diverse and inclusive culture, then it'll fail immediately. You know, my view, Paul, is that diversity, while a noble cause, is still a business cause. Studies have shown that a diverse workforce is more profitable than a homogeneous one. Therefore, it should be measured as such. You know, just like sales, margin increase and EBIT are measured and rewarded if they're achieved, so must diversity goals. So I think the first thing we could do there to build and tie that in is to tie executive compensation to diversity goals, and then like cascade that philosophy down. That's a surefire way to change the culture. As they say, Paul, what's incentivized gets done. Great question. Because what employees are looking for now is not what they were looking for pre-pandemic. Prior to COVID-19, you know, most companies were looking for, you know, most people were looking for a job that perhaps turned into a career. You know, if the company did something responsible, then that was the cherry on top. Today, employees are really attracted to companies that brand themselves as being responsible, whether it's socially or environmentally. That conversation has changed dramatically. Retention is a different subject, however. You know, it's really a different subject entirely. What attracts doesn't retain. And that is true in personal relationships as well as in business. Employees are looking for scholar programs that promote lifelong learning. They're looking for resource groups that help them assimilate into the larger culture. They're looking for well thought out talent management systems that allows an employee the ability to understand what critical experience are needed to progress to the next level. But more importantly, I think employees are really looking for equity in the workplace, just a fair playing field. Onboarding is one of those issues that that doesn't receive a lot of attention, unfortunately. It's probably one of the most important things that a company can do, and it doesn't receive as much attention as the talent acquisition piece, the talent management piece. I always say if a recruiter is the ambassador of the company, then onboarding is like the welcome reception. In a distributed workforce, onboarding must be seamless and done with the aid of technology and the hiring manager, which is the piece that I think gets left off a lot. The hiring manager is really the key. In a lot of ways, the hiring manager is not only key to onboarding, but the employee being developed. It's really incumbent upon that hiring manager to ensure that the employee has what they need on day one, not just their space and their tools, but they need to understand that hiring manager is also very responsible for that employee being developed. On this note, Paul, it's really a two-pronged approach, right? So I think first, the manager or supervisor really needs to be on the lookout for behaviors that are not consistent with the employee norms. And even if there is nothing wrong on the surface, still probe and ask questions. Now, if they do see a problem, if they do see a change, then that is where the company comes in. So that's that second prong. Companies need to leverage technology with assistant hotlines and even more formal help to get employees through that situation. And I will say finally on that, Paul, that COVID-19 has really exacerbated a lot of these issues. We're all home and we all think we're doing okay. But managers especially and peers need to take that extra time. Even though you might be on a Zoom call with someone, give that person a call. Just touch base with them just to see if they're okay. That can make all the difference in the world. The biggest problem that most people have really is the lack of definiteness of purpose. And then you couple that with lack of personal accountability. From their day job to their home commitments, and now with the stress of the pandemic, it's hard to manage yourself. So personal coaching is effective in a few ways. One, it helps uncover what that true purpose is. It helps to also uncover blind spots in areas of opportunity. It helps hold you accountable. Sometimes we aren't accountable to ourselves, but having a coach reveal our blind spots, our areas of opportunity, and having to go to someone, whether it's a weekly cadence, bi-weekly, or a monthly cadence, that helps out so much. Let's start with the employee satisfaction part first. Companies need to implement surveys regularly to assess how their employees are doing and feeling. Now, a lot of companies do that, right? But I think the key there is acting on the information that's received. You have to act on that information. If the company is receiving bad marks on communication, then, from the C-suite on down, there needs to be a real concerted effort to let the employees know that they heard the feedback. This can be done broadly by sharing the results. It's not just good getting them. It needs to be disseminated, and everyone needs to know what's happening. That can be scary because the results might not be optimal, but it's what you want. The second thing I would say is taking specific and concrete actions to make progress done. This will give the employees confidence that their feedback is being heard, cherished, and acted upon. And that needs to happen at the executive levels, and that needs to be cascaded on down. The second thing I would say is, analytics is really the key to increasing efficiency, decreasing costs, and making decisions that are unbiased. Analytics can help organizations understand attraction, retention, and attrition. It can show trends in cases, and in some cases even be leading indicators, tell us what's coming down the line. So analytics is a way to help us make decisions that are unbiased, at the same time helping the company. Paul, I think talent strategies is the important part of that question. A talent strategy to me is just not a talent acquisition strategy. Instead, it's really how the company does its business in every aspect. For candidates looking for companies, they're interested in a lot of different things. So, companies such as Chipotle, Starbucks, McDonald's have all sought to link executive pay to diversity and environmental goals. This act really shows candidates that the organization is committed at the highest levels to equality. It's more than showing up at a career fair, but it's also a strong message to the talent pool. But some companies are going even further. If you're looking at Tesla, and if you look at IBM, they're actually hiring engineers within their organizations without college degrees. This is causing major disruptions for talent strategies really throughout all of business. It's showing us that there's a new day out there. If people have the skills necessary, we're starting to assess them on their skills and not necessarily with an educational degree in a specific function or field. I would say on the latter piece, what people are doing as it relates to disruption of talent strategies, I think it's okay to be bold, to do things that are might be a little bit out of the box, because that's what the candidates and the talent pool is looking for. They're looking for companies on the cutting edge, whether that cutting edge be doing what IBM and Tesla are doing, or whether that cutting edge is being more socially or environmentally responsible.
Andrew, thank you very much for your time. Good luck and be safe and well.
Thank you, Paul. Have a great day.